Welcome to Peak, Train Like a Girl, a podcast by girls in sport, for girls and coaches in sport. We're here to amplify your voice. It deserves to be heard. At Peak, we're a safe place for girls to hang out, learn, grow, and build community. We empower girls in sport and coaches with knowledge, resources, and support we think is necessary in today's athletic environments to thrive. Join us for bold conversations about experiences of girls in sport. Our discussions are going to make you laugh, cry, cheer, most likely get a little frustrated, and hopefully rethink the future of girls in sport for generations to come. So whether you're walking, commuting, cleaning your bedroom, back in school, or maybe heading off to school, take us with you. Follow us. It helps more than you can imagine. Make sure you're checking out our website. And most importantly, please make sure you're sharing with a female athlete or coach you love. Super excited to give you a little background of our next guest, Victoria Garces, who competes at Duke University. I do want to give you just some of her highlights before we get her warmed up. She is a sophomore distance runner at Duke University from Midland, Michigan. She went to Herbert Henry Dow High School. I think I'm saying that all right. She won the U20 gold in the 6K at the 2025 USATF Track and Field Cross Country Championships. She competes in the 1500, the 3000, the 5000, and the 6K. We definitely want to talk to her about that. And she is also a all academic runner. So much going on. Victoria, thank you so much for taking a leap of faith and being on the podcast with us. Are you ready to get warmed up?
Yes, I'm so excited to talk with you guys.
Yeah, us too. All right, rain shower or snow shower?
Gotta go snow shower with being from Michigan.
Love that. What about you, Carson?
I'm gonna go rain shower. I feel like that's a calming vibe for me.
All right, I'm going with Victoria. I'm going with snow shower also. All right, Victoria, last one for me, and then Carson's going to get you warmed up the rest of the way. Muffin or donut?
Oh, I really love muffins.
Nice. What about you, Carson?
I'm going to go donut. I think we might be opposites, Victoria.
And I'm very specific. If I'm trying to put like some punch in and get some fuel, I'm definitely going muffin. But if I'm looking just for pure enjoyment, I'm going donut.
I love that.
So mine was a little more specific. All right, Carson.
Both, if both is an option.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Victoria, what is something that you're looking forward to this week?
I move in on Friday, which I'm excited about. Can't wait to see my roommate and see my team again. Obviously saying goodbye to the family is really hard, but I'm so excited to get to start my sophomore year at Duke and, just see all my teammates.
Oh, that's a pretty good one. Anne-Marie, what's happening this week for you?
Well, we're in our second week. So as Victoria knows, summer training can be a little tough with cross country because you do a lot of it on your own. At the high school level, we're pretty lucky because we get to run summer camps, but we're moving into our second full week of cross country practice. And we do this event on this coming Saturday. We do it with the boys team. It's called Beaches, Bagels, and Bananas. So we run these hills at this beach that's next to us, and then afterwards we eat bagels and bananas, and we play on the beach.
Sounds fun.
Man, yeah, what a fun week for both of you. I would say my week, I'm working with a high school girls soccer team this week, so I've got my second group session with them on Friday, so we'll do some fun stuff there. So all of us have a pretty good week coming up.
Absolutely.
I love that. Okay, last one, Victoria. What is your current favorite show, movie, or book?
I really do love reading, but recently me and my family have been rewatching Outer Banks on Netflix, and I think it's just so entertaining, and the new season 5 is coming out soon, so we're trying to get ready for that. That's kind of been my recent fave.
Nice. Anne-Marie?
I'm definitely a reader also, but I'm going to say we're moving into the new season of Ted Lasso. And I'd like to say only release one episode at a time because I'm not into the like
Binge
watching 7
watching.
episodes in a night. So I'm going to go with Ted Lasso.
Oh man, you're speaking my language. I'm also on kind of a psychology kick. I just started, I'm kind of late to the game, but Mindhunter, little criminal psychology. So I just started that. I probably will do more of the binge watching, but probably could afford to do one at a time. That's awesome. Thank you, Victoria, for getting warmed up.
Yeah, of course.
Now to the juicy stuff. Tell me about your story. Obviously, we heard a lot of the highlights, but just give me a brief overview of your experience being a girl in sport.
Yeah, totally. So I started doing sports when I was really young. My mom was a tennis player, so I think I started tennis when I was 3.5, and did that for a while, but then also loved soccer. I think the soccer to running pipeline is definitely a real thing. So did soccer for up until 8th grade, but eventually realized maybe running was more my style. In soccer, obviously you have to be pretty aggressive, pretty physical, and I was more into the running part of it, so kind of was losing my love for the sport. But then around that time when I was maybe checked out of soccer, I started to really enjoy running. I did some cross country and track in middle school, like started track in 6th grade and started cross country in 7th grade. And naturally I saw like I was pretty decent on it. So I was excited for maybe what I could do in high school, but obviously kept it like really chill. I would go to soccer practice always after those like track or cross country practice. So I was pretty busy. So yeah, try not to focus too much on running at an early age. Just kind of like have fun with it. Did some other sports too. But in freshman year of high school, I decided to do the cross country team, and I would go to some of like the summer practices, and yeah, I was really excited. But I knew in the back of my mind like I might still want to do soccer in high school. So me and my dad kind of had a conversation like, oh, like maybe when do you decide if you're going to quit soccer or not? And we decided maybe if I broke 19 minutes in the 5K, I would quit soccer and focus on running. So that's exactly what happened. I got that goal midway through my freshman year, and I was a little bit unexpected just because I was kind of new to like the 5K and new to that distance. But yeah, I was super excited to like see that off of very minimal training. And that kind of gave me hope for what I could do for the rest of high school. So after that, kind of tried to methodically train a little bit harder each year. Like freshman year, I was probably running 10 or 15 miles a week, and then sophomore year amped it up maybe 20 miles a week. And so I was just trying to be smart with it. And obviously a lot of things besides running were still important to me, even though I had dropped all the other sports in my life. Actually, no, I still was cross country skiing at the same time. So I would do that in the winter instead of running. Yeah, so I was very involved with like music and clubs and friends and family. So, yeah, I've always just tried to keep a balance with it. And I have seen like kind of a linear improvement in running throughout my years in high school and then into my first year of college, which is definitely a blessing and a little bit unexpected. That's normally not kind of what happens. You don't really see like a linear progression always, but I was lucky enough to have that. So I think that kind of helped me stay motivated and like to train a little bit harder each year and, yeah, try to reap the benefits of my hard work.
I love that. Thank you so much. So, Victoria, a little bit of background about me. I was also a track athlete, but I was a sprinter. So everything that you just described is like blowing my mind, the distances. And now I work as a certified mental performance coach. So just kind of hearing your story, like different things pop into my mind from that perspective. And one of them was kind of the last thing you said, like your linear progression is not super typical, especially in cross country and track. Like it's hard to get better every season or get better every meet, and that can be really frustrating. You said it's really helped you stay motivated. I want to know, do you struggle with any pressure that maybe you've built kind of for yourself because you've been so successful and had this steady uphill climb? Do you worry at all or feel any pressure going into your sophomore year now of like, oh my gosh, I just keep getting better and now that's kind of maybe expected?
I think that is for sure always in the back of my mind, especially like as every year passes. I mean, now I'm into my 6th year of, you know, like taking, like running the 5K and taking running seriously. So I think that, yeah, there's definitely some pressure. I was feeling it. I feel it at different times, and I'm still somehow able to overcome and find a way to get a little bit better. But the thing is, I think what helps is that I'm always able to find something new to tweak with my training or like add something or focus on something different. And those always can kind of lead to maybe better outcomes. But of course, it's like so important to just stay focused on like being like present and like focusing on the process and not so much about the times. I think I've just been lucky that the times come with my like additional work. But yeah, no, sophomore year, I think sometimes it's like, oh, sophomore slump or like sophomore plateau, like definitely can be a thing. So I'm trying to just put the hard work in, but, you know, also remind myself that I still have potentially 2 to 3 more seasons after sophomore year to like prove myself and keep working hard. So yeah, some pressure, but trying not to focus too much on it. Mostly just trying to focus on having fun with it.
Yeah, it's interesting because I love the way Carson framed that. When I heard that story, what I immediately thought of is, oh my gosh, if I could just take everything you just said and implant it into every athlete I've ever coached. What I heard was you built a career based on consistency because you weren't overtraining. I mean,
Yeah.
to run 10 to 15 miles your freshman year and 20 miles your sophomore year, when you and I both know there's programs that are running these kids 40 miles their freshman year.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm really lucky that, I mean, first of all, I went to a different school freshman year. I went to a school, I had to move, for my dad's job, but I lived in Wisconsin at that time. So, that program, was really awesome and I definitely really enjoyed it, but I definitely wasn't pushed as much, which is honestly such a blessing. Like, I was just able to have fun with it, show up to practice, maybe run 2 miles, like, you know, maybe run to like, you know, get like slushies or something. Like everything was like very chill and low key. And then, yeah, once I switched schools and, I had a coach who did a little bit more mileage, you know, I was able to improve a little bit more, but I do think, yeah, I was just lucky with the situation I was in because I was given a chance to see how good I could be with little mileage. Like I didn't have somebody forcing me to run 40 miles a week as a freshman. And I probably could have been really good as a freshman, right? Like I could have been maybe a phenom or could have like, you know, went to nationals or something, but there's so many what ifs. I also could have gotten a bone injury. I could have really struggled with mental health. Like there's so many things that you don't know could happen. So sometimes it's just best to hold yourself back a little bit and yeah, not worry about training too hard so young.
Yeah, I agree. So what was it like to jump from your school in Michigan to a program like Duke? Was it physically challenging? Was it mentally challenging? Were you prepared for the difference?
That's a really good question. I know I actually had a couple people telling me while I was making my transition or like in the process of making the transition, like, oh, you might not be like ready for collegiate training just because my training had been a little bit chill in high school. But I actually found the transition to be pretty smooth. I really credit my college coach a lot. I started to run a couple more days a week in senior year. I would only run 3 to 4 times a week, and then my coach now he just has me run 5 days a week. But I found that like lowering intensity, so my workouts became a little bit less strenuous, or you know, it wasn't so focused on giving 100% every day. It was just putting a good steady effort, you know, focus on feeling good, feeling smooth, feeling relaxed. And I think that those like type of workouts also combined with more attention to detail with like foam rolling, like strength training, like having an actual program that it has like structure and really prioritizes certain aspects like that, made the transition very smooth. I was definitely nervous that I would end up being injured in college because it would just all be so new to me. But instead, I found a coach that could work with where I was, adjusted my training accordingly. I do train a lot harder now than I did in high school, which makes sense, like after now, like a year removed from, or 2 years removed from high school. But yeah, we were able to find a way to make my transition work. And yeah, I'm very happy that it worked out that way, but I think it totally is possible. And if there's a high schooler or a middle schooler out there who doesn't train very hard and they're worried about amping it up, just take it really slow, really like, conservative. Like there's always room to add intensity later, but I think just focusing on staying healthy, consistent, that's gonna like, you know, pay the dividends.
Yeah. And do you feel like your body was more prepared to adapt to the workload? I think one of the things that people don't really understand when it comes to training is that it's not the workout that's making you stronger. It's the adaptation after the workout that makes you stronger. So do you think that you were just physically more like prepared? I mean, that's what the science says, but I'm wondering if you actually felt that, like your body could handle significant more load as a freshman in college than it could as a freshman in high school.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think that that just goes to the gradual build, the gradual getting used to like, harder training. But I think my coach in college, the workouts were definitely a little bit longer than I was used to. So I think that could have been a hard adjustment. But in terms of adaptation, obviously, your body like will react in different ways to workouts, but there's ways to like prevent worse outcomes from happening from a workout, because obviously you're stressing your body out a lot by going through a workout. And for me, really making sure I was prioritizing my fuel, eating something within 30 minutes of my workout to like start recovery going, and then also not overdoing things. Like I think it's really easy to like get competitive in workouts and want to race your teammates and like prove yourself, but I have learned over time that you prove yourself in races, not workouts, and that you also need to focus on yourself. Like running can be selfish at times. So, you get your fuel in, you do your like post run stretching, like you do what you need so you can come back for the next session in a couple days feeling stronger, better, and like adapted to like the training workouts.
Yeah, and it's a really interesting thing is that when people use a workout to quote unquote prove fitness, that's where you see things can really go south, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not where we're trying to prove fitness. We're trying to force the body into a challenge so it can adapt the next day. Before we move on, because I do want to move into the fuel piece, and I know Carson's got a bunch of questions as far as that goes. Also, let's talk about cross country as a sport. I think this is also something that people get a little wrong. I think people feel like running is a very individual sport, and that is probably perpetuated because of track. And certainly it is a team event in track, but it's definitely seen more as an individual. But cross country, you are winning as a team. I mean, you need 7 teammates to get on that line and be able to perform. Can you talk to that? So you're not in competition with your teammates. Like if you don't, you can't do well unless your teammate also does well. So can you talk a little bit about that, particularly to the high school runner who is feeling that their competition is in practice with them?
Oh yeah, that is something that I'm sure so many people can relate to, and I definitely have related to it myself in certain eras of like high school running and even a little bit in college. And I think the biggest thing that like my high school coach like really implemented in us was just like doing fun things with your team outside of practice, like having a life with your teammates. Honestly, like outside of practice makes a huge difference. At Duke, we do so many things together. Obviously, my teammates are like my best friends. But then in high school, it was the exact same way for me. I love to hang out with my teammates outside of practice, like, whether it's like getting dinner or like going to a movie or something, like a team sleepover, anything like that. I think it just kind of shows that everyone is like a person. You're so much more than just like the runner, and you're so much more than like being competitive with someone else on your team. Like, everyone on your team holds something different. Like they have, like certain like, things that they will bring to the team. And it's important to like form these connections and relationships, outside of practice. So that was a big thing. And then also in high school, I kind of started this thing on my team where we would do small group, like leadership things. All the captains, my senior year, we would all lead, a small group and kind of teach, the younger people, or not even the younger, anyone on our team, who was in our group. We would teach them about like proper fueling, recovery, like mental strategies for races, hydration, anything kind of like that falls in like the like extra like running like helpfulness. I don't even know what category that would be, but yeah, I would do that my senior year of high school, and I think that kind of helped show everyone too, like, running is so much bigger than just trying to beat your teammates. There's a lot of like special things that you can, there's a lot of relationships you can form with your teammates. A lot of things you can do to teach them. I think getting to be a captain my senior year of high school really showed me, how important it is to be a leader. And that there's definitely leaders come in different shapes and sizes. I mean, like I'm probably, more of like an atypical leader with maybe being more on the quiet side, but I try to lead by example, promote like, proper recovery and fueling to my teammates, and then obviously getting them motivated for races. But I just think that having like leaders on your team and, having these types of people on your team who are willing to, like do the things outside of practice can really make like a big difference.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I love that you talk about leaders come in different shapes and sizes, and that's obviously a much bigger analogy than I say, runners come in different shapes and sizes, and it's all true, right? Like you can't pinpoint somebody's like leadership potential or running potential by like quote unquote sizing them up. So I think that I love that analogy, and I love that you use that to talk about a leader, and leaders come in so many different ways, and that, that quiet leadership is so good. I love the idea of the small group. We have started doing that. We have actually a thing called Girl Talk now, where and we've been breaking into because we have a big team. There's like 60 athletes on our team.
Oh, wow.
And so we do break into smaller groups, because what I found is kids are much more likely to talk in smaller groups than they are in one big group. So it just gives some autonomy and some space, right? Have you ever noticed that before, Carson, that kids are more willing to talk in a small group?
Oh, absolutely. And I think kind of what you were describing, Victoria, like there's different things that people bring to the team. And so I think sometimes if you're with the entire team, someone that's maybe not a top scorer or not a senior, like they might feel like their voice doesn't matter. Whereas if you put them in that small group and they're kind of, they feel more level with like, okay, it's only 3 more people. Like my voice does matter here, or something like that. Obviously we'd want to get them to the point where they see their value, but just knowing that like that already exists, where there feels maybe like some people don't feel up to the challenge of like talking to the whole group or being a leader or something like that, putting them in a smaller group can be helpful. That's kind of what I wanted to ask too, Victoria, was it sounds like your senior year, you had like so much leadership practice. And I think the way you described even prior to your senior year, this idea of just really leading your athletics with fun and, compassion for yourself, and like not overtraining or taking things too seriously, like pretty ideal situation going into college. Like those are all things that I would like hope for my clients, is that they have that kind of mentality. What was it like then becoming a freshman in a much bigger C at a much, higher level of competition, trying to keep some of those like just having fun and like this isn't my whole identity, like some of those mentalities that are maybe harder to keep in that environment, if that makes sense? Like how did you handle that transition?
I think that a lot of my teammates were very similar with that, like have fun with running, like you're so much more than your sport. Like, so kind of, I would feel that message at practice and like meets and stuff. So it was very easy to kind of remind myself that those things still are important. But in terms of like being a leader, it definitely, maybe wasn't like my biggest year for like promoting like, being vocal, like telling people what to do,
Right.
or like, like asserting dominance, because obviously you're just a freshman, like you're there to learn and grow from your teammates. I mean, I got so much out of, especially the grads who, a lot of them were only there for a year. They would tell me so much wisdom from old races and just like experience of being in the NCAA for many years. So I think that was super important for me. But I think what I took away from freshman year leadership is that leading by example is still just as important, whether that's, again, just like fueling your body appropriately, like getting in enough carbs, like, not being afraid to eat. I think some female distance runners definitely, can be a little bit like anxious about maybe eating in front of teammates and stuff. Like, so just reminding myself that like, show off like a good example. Like I'd want to eat, or I want to try to eat just normally, like, be a good example in that. And then I think as I look towards this year, maybe a little bit more vocal. Because we have a younger team this year. We have a lot of incoming freshmen, which I'm so excited about. So yeah, trying to be a good example for them, showing them that like, the NCAA is stressful. There's a lot going on with hard classes and lots of travel on planes and stuff. There's a lot of new things, and just showing them that, running is just something you do, not who you are, and to, just really make sure they're enjoying their college experience, outside of running, because you only have a few years in college, and it's supposedly supposed to be the best few years of your life. So, yeah.
I love that you're spreading these messages here on the podcast, because there's going to be a lot of young girls that are really amazed at the things that you're accomplishing, as an athlete. And so to hear that you can be such a high, performing athlete and be really successful while still holding the values that you're preaching. You can still have fun. It doesn't have to be your entire identity. You can eat, you can fuel, all of these things can exist at once. I think that's really powerful.
Yes. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, I agree. Can we get a little more nuance with that? So what does a normal training day of eating look like for you? So pre-run, post-run, race day. Has anything about fueling or endurance been harder for you now that you're in a college environment where maybe you're providing some of your own meals? Fill us in a little there, because those are typically the questions we get all the time. What should I eat? And first of all, take away the word should. But what does that look like for you?
Yeah. I think it's something that is so person to person, and obviously it's taken me so long to figure out what works, but I really do feel like I have a good routine now. So happily we'll share. For pre-workout, I normally like to eat bread with peanut butter, banana, and honey. I just think that always settles so well, and I'm always in the mood for it. So that's kind of what I go to. Now recently I've been experimenting, because I didn't run very long runs in high school, so this wasn't ever really something that I had to worry about, but I now have a 10.5-mile long run every Sunday. So I've been experimenting with carb intake, and we'll try to get 50 grams of, carbs in what is it called? A hydration mix. Then I'll drink midway through the run, which has been helping me a lot with recovering faster and feeling good on the long runs. And then post run, if I can get home in under 30 minutes and make breakfast, I'll just have pancakes and eggs and sausage, or maybe French toast with eggs and sausage. I really like one of those options. But then if I have a longer gap, maybe I'm going out to breakfast with somebody, or just cooking breakfast is taking longer than normal, definitely get in a bar, at least any type of granola bar. Honestly, just whatever, some sort of snack I have with me. It doesn't really matter what it is, just as long as you get something in. Calcium's always been a really important thing to me, just because I at one point thought maybe I had, or I probably did have, slightly lower bone density than what was I hoped for a female distance runner. So I really try to get a lot of calcium in during the day. I drink a lot of milk. I have a lot of yogurt, that type of stuff. But then for race day, I kind of stayed true to the same thing since freshman year of high school, actually. Just oatmeal, banana, maple syrup, dates, just a lot of carbs. I think that's a really big thing that I want to emphasize to anyone who's listening, high school and middle school. Carbs are your friend. That's how you feel good during runs. There's a big focus on protein right now. I personally am not the biggest fan always of, forcing protein down, and I think that's totally fine. Your body needs carbs. That's how I'm able to train the way I do. As I've increased my training this year, I'm now eating even more carbs. That's kind of why I'm introducing the carb mix for long runs and workouts, just because that is the fuel. And so, yeah, that's always been a big focus for me. And I think a big thing about the dorm room transition, transitioning to college and trying to fuel properly. I mean, I really prefer having a kitchen, being at home and being able to make your own food is just super fun. It's very enjoyable, but I think a dorm room being in a college setting and having to eat at the dining hall can kind of push you in other directions. You can do more food experimentation, see what settles, before runs, before strength, that type of thing. So yeah, I mean, Duke has really good food. I'm definitely very lucky. Our dining hall is definitely ranked one of the best in the country. We have it's little restaurants almost, on West Campus. So I am very lucky. and all taste super good. And I've been able to experiment quite a bit with like maybe what works in the dining hall. And I found it's kind of just similar things, right? Like, white rice, like pasta, it's just kind of the basic like carbs. Not much will change there, but, I sometimes will make like snacks and stuff in my dorm room, like make some overnight oats or make some energy balls, that type of thing. But, at Duke, I'm in dorms, for sophomore year as well. I was in dorms last year. So most of my meals come from the dining hall.
Yeah, I love that you have, it sounds like you have a really good relationship with food. I love that you talk about the experimentation of it. I think that's something, it's the same thing with training, right? Or workload, or even strength training. Like I've got probably 7 different cycles of programs for people depending on where they A, are in their training, but also B, in their physical development. And it is experimentation, and same thing with food. Like you've got to figure out what your secret sauce is. And I love that you realize the time you're trying it is on your long runs on a Saturday. You're not trying something new like during a race, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, I think that that's super important. And I love that you have like this, that you talk about the dorm room, and what you really have in the dorm room is less control, which is sometimes what I think distance runners, like they crave that control.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I love that you have such a healthy relationship with that. You're like, yeah, I get to experiment. I get to try things. And how about a good plug for Duke that they have good food?
Oh yeah, definitely was a selling point.
Yeah, note to all people going to college, Duke has a good cafeteria. I love that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So is there anything else, like, have you experienced any, pushback's not the right word, but have you experienced any like uncomfortable situations when it comes to maybe what someone would think a quote unquote ideal runner should look like? I'm using air quotes all over the place. We're all very aware that that tends to be the conversation when it comes to distance runners. And it seems like you've avoided some of that. So can you help us out and figure like what worked for you there?
Oh yeah. I mean, I can speak with firsthand experience as someone who has definitely had to make some changes with fueling. I mean, we're finally, I guess, diving into it on this podcast, but when I was a junior in high school, I obviously was taking training a lot more seriously. Like as I had mentioned previously, sophomore year was like the 20-mile weeks of running, but I decided to go up to 35 for my junior year. Like that was my big goal. And then unfortunately I didn't change anything with my fueling. So I was like almost doing double the amount of training and did nothing different with fueling. And I actually did see the short-term benefits. Like I feel like everyone always says, you're lighter is faster for like maybe a couple months. It's right about until you get an injury and then you kind of realize, which is exactly what happened to me, right? Like, definitely was smaller and was a lot faster. So that was something that, it feels like good, obviously, to get new PRs and, to see those results come. But then unfortunately with that, I never had any bone injuries, so I'm very lucky with that. But like I did end up in a boot for a bit during my junior year, and faced definitely one of the biggest setbacks, that I've ever experienced, just because I was so disappointed. It happened right in the middle of my cross country season, caused me to miss some big meets. But, it was through that period where I kind of maybe realized, oh, I should probably be taking fueling more seriously, but it still hadn't sunk in yet. I was kind of delusional, so I got out of the boot and just kept with my old habits, like not really prioritizing fueling at all. I mean, I was a really good eater. Like I would get confused because I would compare myself to teammates, which is something that I know a lot of people will do. And I would be like, oh, but I eat more than my teammates. I have like a couple of snacks a day. I always eat dessert, but like I'm still so tiny and like I get injured, like what's going on? And I think it's just everyone has a different metabolism, right? Like I was taking running way more seriously than my teammates as well. So of course I'm going to need more food than them, but it just wasn't like, I wasn't really realizing that in the moment. So it was then going into my senior year of high school, when I got another injury over the summer. And at that point I had told myself, I made a promise. I was like, I'm going to take fueling more seriously. And I got injured again. And I really wanted to quit the sport. I'm not going to lie. I was like, oh, like I'm trying my best. Like I'm trying to do the right things and I get injured again. But I mean, honestly, that senior season ended up being like my best season ever. I mean, I got to go to both cross country national meets. I got to travel all over and meet so many cool people. And like, I'm so lucky that I got to do that, but I really don't think it would have happened unless I started stepping up with my fueling. And of course, with that comes body changes, which is totally normal. You need to have some body like fat in order to have like, you have like functional hormones and like, you know, get a cycle. Like, these type of things are completely normal for female distance athletes. And I think that sometimes we glorify like the skinnier, faster thing because they're running so fast, but it's only for a couple months, maybe a year, maybe 2 years, but it eventually catches up with these people. It's not if, it's when. And I think that was something that really stuck with me my senior year when I made the promise to myself that it didn't matter, like, if any like body changes, I didn't really care. I just wanted to be healthy, right? I just wanted to enjoy the sport. I wanted to run happy. I wanted to not have to worry about getting injuries. And with that, like, came like an immense amount of pressure off of me. I felt like I wasn't just a shell of a person that I was, because I was never worried about food or anything my senior year. I could just kind of go out there, run, have fun. And I feel like that junior year, maybe I lost a little bit of like, you know, really enjoying the sport. But I think now looking back, like, now looking to the future, I think that body image is something that's totally like, you know, it's totally subjective. Like, you know, people can be like confused or concerned or whatever it is about it. But as long as you're fueling for your like training, eating an adequate amount of carbs, you're going to get the results. You know, it's not a certain body type that's going to run a certain like time. I've been all different like weights or whatever. And the healthiest weight I've been at is also the heaviest weight, which is also the fastest weight, right? So like, I ran my fastest times when I weighed the most. I know this is something that's totally like can be so hard to talk about, right? Like, you don't really want to have to think about these things, and you just want to go out and run and not worry about like the fueling component. But genuinely, I've just felt so much better, so much stronger. I can take more training with being at a heavier weight or a healthier weight. So yeah, I would just recommend any runner out there to just maybe not focus so much on, as much as you can try to, not focus so much on like, what you maybe look like, and more focus about how you feel. Like, how does your training make you feel? How are you responding to your training? It's definitely like very complicated. Everyone's different, very complex. And I've definitely had to deal with like, a lot, like mentally, but I think getting support, like whether that's, you know, sports psychologist, like therapist, like dietitian, I've definitely worked with all of these, and they make it so much easier to go through like changes.
Yeah. Thank you for being so vulnerable. That's tough. And I love that you broke it down so simply. It's not if, it's when.
Mm-hmm. And
one of the things that is, even as a coach, I struggle with is, I did have on and off stress fractures. I mean, there was a period in my training where I think I was in a boot they literally called it a non-healing stress fracture. I mean, I'm laughing now, but
oh my God,
in a boot for a year. But the bigger thing for me, and it's something, you know, it's a hard conversation to have with a 14-year-old or even a 22-year-old, is I had huge issues with infertility and now have osteosporosis and like the long-term health impacts. Like when you say it's not if, it's when. That's the thing, is even if it's not happening right now, the long-term health implications are real. And that's the thing that I really want to, and people don't care about that. People are like, really? When I'm old, I can't get pregnant? Or when I'm old, like I'm going to have like some problems with my bones? I mean, like, and I get it. Of course, I would have said the same thing if someone said that to me, right? And that's why it's really important to have these conversations with athletes who are competing now, because they're also feeling the impact now. So to miss a season in high school, that's a big deal. I mean, like if you know, it's a quarter of your career. I mean, that's a big deal.
For sure.
So that's the thing. When kids are sitting out entire seasons, you know, it's so much opportunity, not just to race faster. It's so much opportunity to make all these connections and to be with your teammates and do the fun things, because there is nothing worse than being at practice when you can't practice. So you're missing out on all the other juicy stuff, right?
For sure.
Yeah. I want to pivot off this conversation for a second. And Carson, unless you've got anything else you want to talk about with fuel.
No, I thank you so much, Victoria, for sharing that. I think that's really important for people to hear. So no, just in all, that's all.
Yeah. So let's talk about your schedule. So and you brought it up, the travel, school, training, how do you still protect both your sleep and your identity outside of sport?
Oh, that's a really good question. I mean, I'm lucky I have like an amazing roommate who loves to go to bed early. So she will often be in bed before I will, and it'll be like 9 p.m. Like she's got her eye mask and earplugs in, and I'm like, wow. Maybe I'm still working on homework for a little bit, but I do always try during the school year. I'm in bed before 10 or maybe right at 10. And our morning practice is at 8 a.m. So often I'm, getting about 8.5 to maybe even up to 9.5 hours of sleep. So sleep is a big priority for me. And sometimes that does mean you have to give a little bit with school, right? Like as distance runners, it's totally easy to be a perfectionist in everything. I've definitely felt it at times, like, you want to get like perfect grades and you want to be perfect in school and like all your teachers will like you and stuff. But life is so much more than just trying to be perfect. It's better to just live a little, focus on recovery. Sleep is the best way to recover, in my opinion. Like, I always just notice my body just feels a little bit off, like after a couple of nights of bad sleep. Training's a little bit harder, that type of thing. So yeah, I'm lucky that I have such a great roommate who holds me accountable with sleep. And then I think during the school year, I think it's good to just make an effort to, maybe when you're making plans to hang out with like, friends, like to maybe also do it as like you do homework together too, to knock out a couple things at the same time, or hang out over dinner because everyone has to eat dinner. So you can see some people, socialize a bit, and also get your meal in. Those type of things have worked for me. And then I think also just being far from home, that was at first I thought would be a really big like challenge for me to overcome, like not seeing my family every day. But I think, you get into a routine of calling them every once in a while or every couple days, not every once in a while, and texting them regularly. And that kind of felt like, I could get the support I needed if like I was maybe having a like, like school is like tough or maybe not the best workout or something, or it's just a call away. So I think leaning into those things. And then obviously like if I was ever struggling or like, like wanting, struggling like with illness, maybe a little bit sore, that type of thing. Often just, reaching out to family, reaching out to friends. My teammates would do honestly anything for me. They're so kind and supportive. So yeah, those are what I would kind of lean on in those moments.
Really quick, and then I want Carson to jump in here, and then I've got one final question. Is your roommate a runner?
Yeah, she's on the cross country and track team at Duke, and she also runs the Instagram account with me. So yeah, we're really close.
Love that. Carson, do you have any questions before I kind of wrap things up?
I mean, there's just so much. I feel like I could talk to you for hours. This is such good insight for our listeners, like especially those that are going off to school. I mean, now that you mentioned the roommate part, Anne-Marie, so I roomed with my teammate as well. And you mentioned, Victoria, that you run, is it the like team's Instagram together?
No, we do like a Reels account where we show like days in the life at Duke or like, just like running content. We do that stuff together.
So, okay. So it's like separate, just YouTube, but that is, I mean, that's honestly like a little side job as well. So yeah, what is your take? Obviously it sounds like you kind of scored in the roommate department. But I think just hearing the way you're talking, like a lot of your life is, you're working hard to make sure that running is not the only piece of your identity. However, it's a huge part of your life. And even the things that you're doing that aren't running, you're with your teammates, or what you're eating and how you're sleeping, like those decisions are to make sure the running is easier and better, right? Yes. And so it's like I don't know, maybe just like your biggest piece of advice for, let's say, a college runner, trying to balance all the things and keeping running like at the center and your teammates and all those things at the center while also not maybe going crazy with it? Like, how do you?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, I think that the first component is you really have to love your sport, right? Like, you have to go in to every day being like, I'm so excited for practice. I'm so excited to see my teammates. Like, you have to really have joy for the sport. Otherwise, it's just going to be like every day you're just going to be dreading running. Like, that's no fun if you have to make it, a large component of your day. So, like, yeah, obviously I always look forward to practice. One of my favorite times of the day. This summer, it's been like, training by myself. Not as fun, but I think that, like, it's really important to, make a schedule, like, hold yourself accountable. Whether that, like, for me, it's scheduling, okay, I'm going to be in bed at this time. Or some people, it's like, I'm going to take a nap at this time. So making sure that you have scheduled out your day to allow yourself to recover. Like, I'm going to get off my feet for an hour and just kind of like lay in bed and do some homework maybe, that sort of thing. So then you can fill in the rest of the parts of your day that are free with like some things besides running. Like, sometimes I wasn't as good as it this year. I mean, in high school, I was always playing an instrument. So that kind of be one of my ways to decompress. I would either play piano or violin. And then I also did handbells at my church's, handbell choir. So like that was something that was really important to me. And I still try to do it, especially while I'm home for the summer, playing piano quite a bit. But yeah, scheduling in friends, I think, you don't want to like do everything by yourself. Like, that's no fun. Like, you got to have some fun. So, I would often try to plan, hangouts with friends during the day, not as much during the night, just because you want to, focus on recovery and getting to bed early. But I think it's really important to just have balance with everything. Like, you can't go all in on school and then leave no energy for running, but the same goes for, all in on running and nothing for school. And obviously being in the NCAA means like you're kind of expected to be trained at the highest level, because I'm racing against maybe like people who are going to the Olympics or are like incredibly accomplished. So obviously you're competing against plenty of people who are treating this kind of like a job, but it's important to like find some balance, schedule in like time to do things that aren't running, and yeah, like find joy in things that aren't just running.
Yeah, I'll have to check out the Instagram reels too. It sounds like you and your roommate have found a way to like make even the day-to-day enjoyable by, documenting it or sharing it and things like that. So taking the kind of the have to things and making them want to things. Sounds like you've kind of mastered that.
And I think that kind of helps us too. Like, if we're like, okay, we're going to go film a day in the life, like, then, maybe we'll try to do some more fun things. And it kind of pushes us to like, maybe not always be boring. Like, like gonna go like do something new, do something fun, do something in Durham. Like, yeah, it's a good way to like, show everyone that, we do more than just run during the day.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hilarious. That is very funny. I love that it's a creative outlet for you also, right? It's a creative outlet. It's interesting because the NCAA it's competitive, right? I think that, I think it's probably fair to say that in distance running, the most competitive athletes globally compete in the NCAA. I mean, yeah, it's the top runners globally are there. And I think that sometimes gets a little lost. You've got professionals that you are literally running with.
Yeah.
I think people don't quite understand that. But what I keep hearing you say, and I think that this is super important, it's a really hard lesson, is that you can have it all, but you can't have it all at the same time.
Yes.
And you have to know when to put on the gas and when to use cruise control. It's like if every workout, if you were running 6 days a week or you practiced 6 days a week and you went in 6 days a week and you put the pedal to the ground 6 days a week, for your easy runs and for your recovery run. Like, you also don't do that. Like, easy runs are easy runs. Recovery runs are recovery runs. Like, workouts are workouts, but you're doing 2 workouts a week. You're not doing 6 workouts a week. And I think that that's the other piece that people miss, is that they go so all in that they burn out. Because really, you need to be all in about 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
And, and then use the rest of the time smart, right? Like then you still need to take out the 8 hours for sleep and the 2 hours for eating and the, 2.5 hours for practice and the hour for recovery, but there's still then time left in your day. I think that's also important to understand, is that all in doesn't mean 24/7. All in means you're committed when you're there. When you're at practice, you're at practice. But when you're at dinner with friends, you're at dinner with friends.
Totally.
Yeah, I think that's really good. All right, last question, and then we're going to let you get packed to head back to Duke. What is one thing you know now that you wish you would have understood as a high schooler just starting out?
Oh, that's tough. I think when I was a high schooler just starting out, I really thought that to be the very best, to be one of the best runners on the high school cross country and track scene, you had to be, like, running had to be your identity, right? Like, and I never really experienced that. I maybe tried to do that a little bit my junior year. I tried to make running my everything, but even still I was still skiing and doing all these other things. But I think I thought that to have success, you had to, have a certain lifestyle. And then my senior year, when I maybe put the pressure off a little bit and just told myself, like, whatever I do, don't get injured, have fun. That was kind of when I started to see the results come. And that kind of painted a better picture in my mind of what it really means to be an elite runner. Because obviously I was seeing a lot of success, like at my state meet and like things like that. And it wasn't because I was training the hardest. Like, I didn't show up to the meet like running hundreds of miles a week, like 100-mile weeks, and like pouring my heart and soul into the sport. I just kind of tried to take a good, like, healthy mindset with it. And I think something that I've really grown and realized with is like how much mentality makes a difference in like your race results. I think that the mental game really plays a lot larger of a role than people maybe think it does. So oftentimes I almost would psych myself out coming to the starting line, because I would be like, I know everyone trains harder than me. Like, I know I don't train as much. Like, I've held myself back. But when I tell myself then during the race, I'm like, oh, I'm like feeling good. Like, I'm like right with these girls. Like, I can totally do this. I kind of realized that I could get similar results to girls without having to work quite as hard, like, at practice. So I think a big thing that I wish I had known when I started is to really lock in on mentality, focus on like building mental strength and like confidence in yourself. And yes, you will have to work hard. You will have to take running seriously. You will have to do the miles, it won't just come easily, but that when it comes to race time, you will be, just with the other girls who are training harder than you, because you have like that great like mentality.
Yeah, that's really good. I think that is the absolute perfect place to stop. I really want to thank you so much for taking a leap of faith and jumping on here with us. It is humans like you that are willing to share not just their stories, but also their experience that really allows us to be in a better place for girls in sport, that it isn't about a look or a shape or a size, or we are not in competition with each other. We are teammates and we are friends with each other. And that really shone through in everything that you said. You could hear the kindness and the sincerity in your voice. You could honestly hear the joy in your voice. And I know that there are days that are super tough, and you're going to have practices that are super hard, and you're going to have meets that may not go your way this year, or ones that you wish could have gone different. Mm-hmm. But I also am really confident that you're going to get up the next day and realize, A, yeah, my identity is not in this sport, and B, it's going to be okay because I'm going to do it differently next time. So, yes. Victoria, thank you. This has been, as Carson said, I could really talk to you forever. This has been a complete pleasure. If you are listening to this podcast and you loved it as much as Carson and I did, please make sure you are sharing with a female athlete or coach you love. It's really the simplest way we can grow. Until the next time.